Okay, good morning everybody. I don't know if you guys will actually remember this boat. This boat has been, or Michael has worked on this boat previously. And I asked him if we could make a video of this boat and talk a little bit about Pete Dodge, the owner of this boat. Pete is an unbelievable guy. He's 70 years old, cancer survivor. And when he brought this boat to us, he was going through cancer treatment at the time. What was that, about a year ago now? So that was about a year ago. Got to see him on Friday. He brought this in for Michael to do some more work on. Just an unbelievable guy. He does a lot of guiding out on Fayette. So if you're in Texas, check him out. Michael can put some information down for him, but hell of a guy, hell of a character. As you guys know, I'm not much into fishing, but I'd go fishing with him for a day because he's just one of those kind of neat guys that you get to be around, and he's just full of knowledge and wisdom, and I can't say enough about him. And hopefully before this video comes out, he comes in and we can make a little video with him because he is a neat character. Anyway, getting to this. So Michael installed this Ghost trolling motor, and if you remember, we had to make a special wrench to get all the way up here to fasten it down. And let me tell you, that was it was really something. There's not a whole lot of room up in there, and I think this is probably one of the first ones we installed, quite honestly. At first, I remembered Pete, but I didn't really totally remember the boat. And then I looked at this piece of, what's this plastic, a starboard that we put underneath. I don't remember why we did that, but anyway, we did do that. Oh, cover all the holes. There was a bunch of holes up here. But anyway, he got some fishing line around his trolling motor, and it created some issues with his Ghost trolling motor. And so Michael had to take it off and had to take it to get them to service it. It's one of those warranty kind of things. So all we've doing on this is we removed it to make it easy on Pete, and Michael ran it over to get them to service it, and hopefully they can get him back up and running. Basically got a week before his guide trip start again. But what I find interesting about this boat, there is nothing on this boat that doesn't need to be on it. That's just the way it is. It's strictly business. It is 100% strictly business. I mean, look at the guy's trailer. I mean, this is what you call a trailer. I mean, it's not fancy or anything, but let me tell you, this trailer for a bass boat is something else. It's and I remember him telling me that he shifted the rear wheels. He did all kinds of stuff to this to get this boat to fit on here. And hopefully I can get him to, I'll ask him about it when he comes in, and I'll kind of fill you out what he did. But it is all business. Reverse up lamps, okay? So it's got reverse lamps and everything. But this trailer, man, I tell you, it is a piece of strong equipment for this particular boat. So what Michael is actually going to do for him, he's replacing the bilge pumps in the back. Pete is one of those guys that likes to do preventive stuff. We're going to be looking at moving the box up here. That's for the trolling motor, right? Light scope. For the light scope, into a better position for him, so he can get his rods in and out a lot easier. We put them in the boxes up here because it's usually out of the way and it's a clean, but it's creating him some issues. It's not a big issue for him, but it would be better for him if we could move it to a position where he can get a certain type of rod in there with less issues. So as you come down the boat, like I said, absolutely nothing on this boat that you don't need. The other reason why it's in here is that he is his timers for his live well has gone kind of hit and miss on him. So we don't know if we have a wiring problem there or we're just going to replace the timer, get him back in business. Pete knows a lot about this boat. I don't know, how has he had this boat since new? He's had this boat since new. How old is it? We don't know how old it is. Huh?
Old.
Old. It's old.
2000.
But he's a guide, and he goes out guiding, and his whole deal is about catching fish. He doesn't care, quite honestly, about, you know, I don't want to say looking good, because we all want to look good, but his whole deal is this is business for him. He wants to be able to go out and fish and do a really good guide, because that's his business. There's nothing worse than going out on a guiding trip. You can have the best looking boat in the world, but people want to catch fish. They want to learn new stuff and whatever. And Peter's that way. He's not asked me to make this video or anything, but we have a lot of boats coming in and out of here, and some of them are absolutely unbelievably gorgeous. Have every bell and whistle on them. The people enjoy their boats, and that's what it's all about. This is a work boat right here. And so Michael's going to be doing the trolling motor, putting the trolling motor back on when it comes back. He's going to be handling the pumps back here. He may have to replace some deal over here that has to do with where the batteries go. He's about to get into that. There was something else back here other than the pumps and whatever. I'll figure it out. Oh, we've got to figure out why his sensors are not working correctly for his how much fuel he's got. So he has that hooked into the dash or whatever, the graph. Sorry, I'm having trouble getting going this morning, but he has that hooked into his graph, and it was working just fine. It's gone out, so it might just be the sensor in here, or it might be a wiring problem, who knows, but we can get to the bottom of that. Michael can get to the bottom of that pretty quick. So he's going to do some preventive maintenance back here, replacing the pumps, those kind of things, checking out the live wells, and then Michael is going to be looking up under the dash, because the guy that worked on his engine did some things up under the dash, and now some of the things are working and some of the things are not working that was working before. So Michael's going to be looking up under there, and we're going to get to the bottom of what that's all about. So hopefully we can get the trolling motor back, and we'll make some videos of pulling this back out. And one of the things that Pete brought to our attention, and he was very on the marks about this, is this chassis here. He tells me that this chassis is grounded, so you have to be careful as you get the batteries in and out. So we're going to be very careful pulling the batteries out. We've got to pull the batteries out to get to what we need to do to work on this thing. So that's what we're going to be working on. I should say that's what Michael's going to be working on. And Hugh is heading out to a tournament, so unfortunately Michael's going to be upside down in this, which is always he's a big guy, as you all have seen. And so we're going to keep you updated on this one, and hopefully that before the video comes out, Pete will come in and we can do a little video with Pete. I think you'll really enjoy him. He's quite a character. Is this the one that you don't see this motor on the back of this boat? Okay, you see, that means nothing to me. So everybody that sees this boat says this is a unicorn, and obviously I am not knowledgeable about that.
The East Texas unicorn.
Huh?
East Texas unicorn.
It's an East Texas unicorn. But you can tell looking at this boat is used on a regular basis. In fact, he told me that he guides Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays now. He can't do back-to-back days after his cancer treatment, so he guides one day, rests up the next day, guides the next day, rests up the next day, etc. So it's hard to tell if you saw him that he's gone through cancer treatment. We both are like, wow, you know, at 70, I hope I'm doing as well as he's doing. So he's glad to have it behind him. But we'll kind of keep you updated on this. It's kind of unique. I know this isn't going to be everybody's cup of tea, but it just goes to show that you can have a boat that maybe isn't the most glamorous or prettiest in the world, but this boat is extremely functional. And that's really what it's all about, right? So one of the things that Michael and I have discussed a lot here lately, and we've been on both ends of it, it is super nice to have all the electronics on the boat. And when they are working great, it is awesome. And I'm not very knowledgeable about that. Michael showed me how it all works, and I was very impressed. The downside to that is when it's not working well, it is a real pain. And keeping all those graphs talking to one another and communicating backwards and forwards, etc., is can be a full-time job. The other thing about your graphs is make sure you keep your graphs updated. Don't have one on a different update than the others. It will create you all kinds of problems. And so, keeping your graphs updated and up to date is a very, very important thing. We run into that a lot, or should I say Michael runs into that a lot. The other thing that when you buy a graph, and I kind of learned this from listening to Pete and Michael on Friday, make sure it has or will do all the things you want it to do. Okay? So usually the price tag, from what I can tell, the price point can determine whether or not it will do certain things. So obviously the lower price graphs will do up to a certain point, and then the higher price graphs will do this. So he had a customer, not Michael, but Pete had a customer that he's been working with, guiding a lot, and he bought some graphs and they weren't communicating backwards and forwards with one another. Talked to Mike. I'm not going to get into the graph name because it's not really fair, because I don't know all the details. But really what it boiled down to was the fact is that capability is not in that graph. So it'd be like me going out and buying a graph and going, oh, I like this one. It's a nice 12-inch graph and it's only $350. Wow, I'm getting a hell of a deal here, only to find out that it may not have all the capabilities that I'm looking for. So, take the time on that and do your homework on those things, etc. And as far as graphs go, the updates are critical, more critical than you believe. I would say probably 1 out of 3 that come back to Michael, it's usually an update problem. One's been updated, one's not been updated, or whatever. So just kind of keep those things in mind. But anyway, I've ranted on enough, and Michael wants to get to work on this. So we'll kind of keep you updated on what he's doing. We'll get some pictures of pulling this out and what have you. And, it's just neat. I just think it's neat. And we're going to get it all whipped into shape for him, and he'll be back out on the trail or water trail or whatever you want to call it in Fayetteville. I understand that he's quite, no? Fayette.
Fayetteville's another town.
Oh, Fayetteville's another town. I'll be sending you all to the wrong damn place, see that? Fayette. But he's quite a character out there, is my understanding. So anyway, we'll enough rambling on and we'll get to work here.